නමස්කාරය කියලා පටන් ගමු.
නමෝ තස්ස
නමෝ තස්ස
භගවතු
භගවතු අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස. නමෝ තස්ස භගවතු අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස. නමෝ තස්ස භගවතු අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස. Today I was invited to address this Kalalgoda retreat. So if you think that I should speak in Sinhala, please let me know. I was invited to speak in English. So that's why I'm give this Dhamma talk in English. So today you come to this Kalalgoda Retreat Center to practice meditation and observe precepts, 8 precepts. So this, at least this level of practice is good to train yourself to develop in the path. But if you don't have the right understanding about the basics, still you can develop some skills which are beneficial in your life. Because if you develop the skillful actions, mental actions, verbal actions, bodily actions, these are helpful when you are living in this world. But the Buddha mostly focus to the elimination or extinguishing suffering. So the purpose of arising a Buddha in this world is for the first he attained Nibbana. Nibbana means the end of suffering. He attained first and he teach other people how to attain Nibbana, how to end suffering in this life, or living in samsara always leads to suffering. So these things, the Buddha explained people Four Noble Truths. So when people, the Lord Buddha explained Four Noble Truths for people to introduce the nature of or the reality of this life, the truths related to this life, Lord Buddha explained through Four Noble Truths. So if you focus your attention to these truths and if you try to understand by listening Dhamma, so then you gain some knowledge regarding your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, how works and how suffering arises within this system or this body and mind. So Lord Buddha taught us this the realities related to our body and mind. So when you understand, then you see how it arises, how this suffering arises within us, within this body and mind system, or this within the consciousness, how suffering arises. So then, what are the causes and conditions behind this process which gives suffering to us? So when we understand these things, as Buddha told us, so our motivation, we were naturally get motivated to practice the other factors of the Four Noble Truths, or practice the path to extinguish suffering. So that is how it works. So first you have to listen to Dhamma and get the right understanding about this nature of this body and mind, nature of the the nature or the realities related to our existence. So, so therefore, important thing is understanding the truths related to our body and mind or this life. So when we go to the when we pay attention to the Buddha's teachings and when we understand, we can, and Lord Buddha repeatedly say these things to people to get the right understanding about this body and mind. So the basic, the essential characteristics of all consciousnesses, all experiences, all physical and mental phenomena. Lord Buddha teach us. So first we should pay attention to these things. So then we understand the danger or the, the vulnerability to suffering is always associated with this conscious system. No one is beyond that level. If this I and strong body mind consciousness is working in whatsoever level, it is subject to suffering sooner or later. For a human, this the avoiding suffering is not easy, or it is frequently the suffering come sooner or later. So then it is more frequent than a person who attain jhanas. When a person attain jhanas to or develop their minds to higher levels and go and reborn in jhana realms, so that is the Brahma realms, so they have long lifespan. They don't feel suffering for long time because their state of existence is very stable. But for a human, it is very unstable because mostly the humans experiences are depend on external objects or external phenomena, or in other words, in Buddha's words, the uh, external ayatana, bahiddhayatana, ajjata ayatana. So the ajjata ayatana, the internal faculties and external faculties mostly depend on external faculties and internal faculties, or both, because these are impermanent, have a short lifespan for each the state of these internal faculties and external faculties. These are changing fast. When these internal faculties and external faculties are changing, suffering arises. It is a part of existence. It is a part of this consciousness. So this is the basic teaching of Buddhism. So people should keep in mind, when we are, if we are Buddhists, this is the basic Buddhist teaching. So we have to pay attention to this truth. And always we should keep in mind, this is the reality related to our body and mind. This is the reality this is the reality directly affect to our existence, or when we exist as a human or any other living being. This is the truth. This is the truth we experience. All forms, feelings, perceptions, volitions, and consciousnesses are impermanent. Therefore, suffering arises. And this phenomena, this internal phenomena and external phenomena, is a natural process. It is not under I, me, myself. This external phenomena and internal phenomena is a natural process. Arise based on causes and conditions. So the karma is the important one which drives our internal faculties, internal phenomena. So, therefore, if we know this is the truth related to our body and mind, we can inspire us, our minds, to develop the wholesome karma, because the karma is the karma is one of the factors closely associated with our internal phenomena. This is a natural process. So once we listen to Dhamma, and when we start seeing this world as a natural phenomena, this eye, nose, tongue, body, mind is a natural phenomena. External sight, sound, smell, taste, touches, and thoughts is a natural phenomena. Arise based on causes and conditions. Internal eye, nose, tongue, body, mind also work based on causes and conditions. So the internal faculties always support with this karma. Karma means your past intentions, your past actions. Always support. Past means past to present moment. So that is the most important thing we have to keep in mind. So that's why we can change our karmic background by practicing something new, something different, something beneficial to remove unwholesome the karma and develop the wholesome karma by cultivating, doing good mental actions, verbal actions, and bodily actions. So that's why Lord Buddha encouraged people to practice the good mental actions, verbal actions, and bodily actions. So good mental actions, right mental actions come from right view. Even without right view, people may have the good mental actions depending on their way, depending on the situation, or depending on their cultural backgrounds or where they born and live. But still, they are vulnerable to suffering because they are not uh, understand the right view, and they are not in a position to end the samsara. Because until you exist in whatsoever state, it's subject to change. It's subject to impermanence and change to different states. And your choices, your intentions, your values change. And then you go in samsara in different other ways. That's why Lord Buddha inspire people to end samsara. So for ending samsara, you should end the craving to existence. So this craving to existence end when you see the truths related to this body and mind, this natural phenomena. So for seeing these truths within yourself, you have to practice. You have to keep in mind all the time and uh, be mindful in the present moment with the right understanding. What is the right understanding? All these experiences and the faculties which create these experiences are impermanent. That means the external faculties, internal faculties, and all consciousnesses, all uh, uh, forms, feelings, perceptions, volitions, all impermanent. Therefore, suffering will arise sooner or later. Suffering is always associated with conscious process, with this conscious process. So, therefore, we have to be mindful to abandon unwholesome mentality. When we abandon the unwholesome mentality, we can stop unwholesome verbal actions and bodily actions. So that is how it happens. So that's why when we were inspired to see this phenomena as a impermanent and the lead to suffering, and always this phenomena supported by the past karma. So past karma mostly arose based on delusion, not understanding the truths related to this body and mind. That's why uh, when we interact with this world based on delusion, the greed and hatred arise. Greed and hatred related to these objects, the sight, sound, smells, taste, touches, and thoughts arise. Why? We take these objects as permanent. We take our eye, nose, tongue, body, mind consciousnesses as permanent, fixed, not changing. So when we take in this way, automatically we fall into suffering because these are impermanent stuff. When these things are changing, we fall into suffering. Our eye, nose, tongue, body, mind, consciousness changing, we fall into suffering. So suffering, that's why Lord Buddha say this process, this conscious process is always associated with suffering. So therefore, when you are mindful, we can cut off and let go as much as you can without involving with un, uh, unnecessary activities, unnecessary thinking, unnecessary verbal actions, unnecessary bodily actions. We can cut off and let go. If you contemplate all these external and internal faculties are impermanent, subject to change. If we keep in mind this truth in our mind all the time, mindfully, then we engage with this internal world and external world mindfully, and we let go as much as we can. So that is why the mindfulness is important. So when you come to this kind of practice, that means when you come to this Kalalgoda and sit and meditate, most important thing is practicing mindfulness in the present moment. Not let the mind to go to the past or future, but keep in mind in the present moment. And whatever thing arise, you have to deal with the wisdom. Sati Samprajanya. Sati Samprajanya is the most important thing you have to train when you are practicing meditation. That is the first thing. When you develop this Sati Samprajanya, then you can easily turn away your mind from the external objects. That means the thoughts. When you sit for meditation, sometimes the thoughts might come to your mind. Then you can turn away your mind from the thoughts and keep your attention on the meditation object. So you get less obstructions to your meditation, because the kama chanda is one of the strongest obstruction, hindrance when we are practicing meditation, because your mind may be distracted in five sense world objects. Why? In your day-to-day life, you always engage with this five sense world. So if you train your mind to cut off as much as you can, even in your day-to-day life, it is very helpful when we sit for practicing meditation. Then you can quickly turn away from the five sense world objects and fix your attention on the meditation object. If you are practicing breath meditation, you can keep your attention on breath object or any other object. You can keep attention on object, meditation object, and let go of the other objects. So then you are sometimes, even when you try to do these things, sometimes the sloth and offer may come to you. Many people experience this problem because the lack of motivation or lack of the practice. So that's why when we are teaching, we inspire people to practice in your day-to-day life. You have to reserve certain that daily you have to practice meditation. You have to reserve a time period every day for practicing meditation. It is very helpful to develop these right practices. These practices are helpful in your day-to-day life. You can avoid your unskillful mental actions and verbal actions and bodily actions coming behind these mental actions. In your day-to-day life, sometimes you may fall into unskillful verbal actions or bodily actions. It can happen if you not protect your mind. So protecting mind, you train your mind to protect your mind by developing mindfulness. So that is how it happens. So that's why this karma is, you have to understand in this way, because whatever mental action you are doing now will become a karma for future moments. Future moments, your mind activities supported by this present moment, what you are doing now. So it depends on the causes and conditions and each and every moment, which karma will come and ripen in your mind. So it is a continuous process. So that's why Lord Buddha say, you have to practice the right things again and again. So then you cultivate good mental actions. So what is the according to Buddha's teachings, what are the good mental actions? Non-harming thoughts, non ill will, non-sensuality. So uh, so these things, in according to the Noble Eightfold Path, second factor of Noble Eightfold Path, Avihimsa, Avyapada, Nekkam. So non-harming thoughts, non-ill will, and non-sensuality. So this is the rough translation into English. So Avihimsa, Avyapada, Nekkama. Nekkama is the most important thing we have to keep in mind, because that is the thing we have to balance. We have to keep the balance in our day-to-day life. Harming thoughts and ill will is directly we see unskillful, leads to suffering. That's why Lord Buddha inspire people to practice metta all the time, even in your day-to-day life, and uh, when we are practicing meditation. When we are practicing meditation, you have to be have to develop the loving kindness, metta, towards your body and mind. Because when you are dealing with your body and mind, you get upset, you get unhappy. So then it will lead to the ill will towards your body and mind. So then it will stop your the development of your mind. It will stop. So that's why it is, because this is unskillful mental states. So that's why Lord Buddha inspired to practice this metta even in your day-to-day life. So the non-sensuality is really important when you sit for meditation. You should turn away your mind from the five sense world and focus your attention to the five material realm object, or first to four references, satipatthana. So you have to focus your attention to four references: kaya anupassana, vedana anupassana, chitta anupassana, dhamma anupassana. So first thing is kaya anupassana. You can Lord Buddha inspire people to focus attention to the body and forget all the five sense world other objects. Turn away from the five sense world. So when we are practicing satipatthana, we train our mind to let go the karma world, five sense world objects. We are not going to measure or gauge or value any of these things, because when your mind is engaging in the five sense world and valuing these things, there is no end, because whatever value you get now will change after some time. Whatever value you give to any object now may change after some time. So that's why this is an impermanent thing. So that's why Lord Buddha the inspire people to turn away from the five senses. Kamachanda is the adverting five senses. When mind is adverting five senses. So then the five sense objects come to our mind. When the mind turn away from the five senses and focus mind's attention to other object, that means it leads to actually first the kayanupasana, this attention to the body, and gradually this mind develop to the chittanupasana and go to the fine material life. So that is the way how it works. So when mind go into the fine material objects and totally abandon the five sense world objects, so then at that moment you experience the total extinguishment of five sense world, five sense objects. So for developing mind to that state, is the first step is kayanupasana. That is mean focus your attention to body and keep attention on body. So let go all five sensual objects. So that is the purpose of this meditation practice. So then when we sit, you have to abandon the five sense world and keep focus attention to the meditation object. So for when the hindrances arise because the lack of motivation, lack of training in your day-to-day life. Because lack of motivation is arise because lack of proper reflection on this natural phenomena, and you just allow to run your mind based on your past delusion. The delusion always associate is a part of this conscious process. When your eye, nose, tongue, body, mind contact objects, naturally you take these objects as I see, I heard, I see, I smell. This kind of understanding always I is involved. But this seeing is a process based on causes and conditions. Whatever thing you see now may not see after some time. You see some other features of the same object. That's why the seeing is a process that based on that moment, causes and conditions. That moment, the causes and conditions or the karma ripening at that moment in your eye, nose, tongue, body, mind. So it is a momentary process. It can change time to time. So these are not fixed things, permanent things. Whatever things you see is always based on the causes and conditions at that moment. Whatever thing you hear, smell, taste, touch, and think, always based on causes and conditions at that moment. These are not, you can't say these things, you can't take these things as I be myself. So always you have to keep in mind this truth, always with our body and mind. So that's why Lord Buddha inspire people to reflect on our life in this way. So I will read the one sutta. I think it is good for recollecting this the Buddha's teachings. So this is Ajahn Sujato's translation is subjects for regular reviewing. Bhikkhu Bodhi's translation for this sutta name is themes. So I will read. This is Anguttara Nikaya Panchaka Nipata number 57. Anguttara Nikaya Panchaka Nipata number 57. So I will read this sutta. Then it is good to only one part of the sutta. I will not read the whole sutta. Because there are these five themes that should often be reflected upon by a woman or a man, by a householder or one gone forth. What five? Number one, a woman or man or a man, a householder or one gone forth should often reflect thus. I am subject to old age. I am not exempt from old age. Number two, a woman or a man or a householder or one gone forth should often reflect thus: I am subject to illness. I am not exempt from illness. A woman or number three, a woman or a man or a householder or one gone forth should often reflect thus: I am subject to death. I am not exempt from death. A man or a woman or a man, a householder or one gone forth should often reflect thus: I must be parted and separated from everyone, and everything dear and agreeable to me. Number five, a woman or a man, a householder or one gone forth should often reflect thus: I am the owner of my karma, the heir of my karma. I have karma as my origin, karma as my relative, karma as my resort. I will be the heir of whatever karma, good or bad, that I do. So this is the one that's why I try to remind you, all of you. So if you train your mind to be mindful with this understanding, this kind of reflections, this is helpful to arouse the urgency within yourself. So then you can, this body and mind is a natural phenomena. It is flowing automatically. If you uh, if you are not mindful, your past akusala karma can ripen in your mind at any time. So then your mental actions become polluted with greed and hatred, and then your verbal actions and bodily actions may come behind those things, those mental actions. So therefore, you have to be mindful in the present moment. You have to train your mind. You have to train your mind to be mindful in the present moment to get rid of akusala karma, get rid of unskillful way of seeing things. Because when your mind see this world in the wrong way, or uh, uh, you see the world based on wrong view, michaditi. So you take objects as permanent. You take your eye and ostang body mind as permanent. You take external world, sight, sound, smell, taste, touches, and thoughts as permanent. So once you take in this way, you naturally fall into greed or hatred. But normally you don't think. It is the default state of our mind. Because when objects come to our mind, automatically mind go to greed or hatred. Why? Because you haven't reflect and we are not mindful with the right understanding to let go things. Why we let go? We know things are impermanent and subjective. This knowledge and this understanding you have to practice, because mind is always in its default state. Its default state is it runs based on delusion. Avidya pachya sankara, sankara pachya vinyan, vinyana pachya namrup. This flow of happening always working. So that's why we have to be mindful to stop this automatic flow and turn to the right side. If you are mindful, you can cut off and stop. So that is the only thing you can do. So we have to keep in mind, this is a truth. This is a reality. That's why Lord Buddha inspired. Chanda Chitta Viriyamansa, 4 Iddhipadas. The meaning of 4 Iddhipadas is this. You have to keep the desire to practice mindfulness in the present moment and cut off and let go all unwholesome thoughts. But in the same time, you have to keep in mind, this mind is not yours. It is a natural phenomena. Sometimes, in some situations, your past karma straight away come and ripen and give the verbal actions, mental actions, verbal actions, and bodily actions. Straight away give, because it is the power of the karma. So then, only thing, once you see these things, just be kind to your body and mind. No need to worry. Only thing you can do is bring back your mind to the present moment mindfulness, and present moment you have to bring back to your mind to the right view and right intentions. When you have the right intentions, then you correct your wrong actions and train your mind to act correctly, and train your verbal actions and bodily actions accordingly. So that is the way how it get corrected. So no need to worry. Only thing, you have to engage in the continuous practice. So that's all. Because then your verbal actions, bodily actions, and mental actions, verbal actions, and bodily actions get purified gradually. That's why in the Noble Eightfold Path, first factor is right view. The second factor is right motivation or right intentions. So after that, right verbal actions, bodily actions, and livelihood come. So it come. That is the order it happened. So most important thing is practicing right view in the present moment, and then automatically right intentions, right choices, or right motivation arise within yourself. So you are motivated to let go the five sense world. That is called nekkamma sankappa. Because when you are engaged with this five sense world, always suffering is associated with this five sense world. So that's why Lord Buddha inspire people to turn away from the five sense world and focus your attention to the fine material realm and develop your mind to that level. So that is the last factor of Noble Eightfold Path. Once you achieve those states, so then you clearly understand how to extinguish suffering, at least temporarily. Otherwise, you can deal with object by object by contemplating anicca dukkha anatta and cut off those things and release your mind from those things. But until you engage with this five sense world, suffering can't stop, because suffering come and then you rectify, come again and rectify. But once you attain jhanas, to a certain time, your some time period, you are fully liberated from suffering. So you can directly experience these truths. So that is the purpose of practicing meditation. That is the purpose of practicing this meditation, the practicing Eightfold Path, Noble Eightfold Path. So therefore, it is important to reflect about the truths related to this body and mind. I am subject to old age. I am not exempt from old age. I am subject to illness. I am not exempt from illness. I am subject to death. I am not exempt from death. I must be parted and separated from everyone and everything, dear and agreeable to me. I am the owner of my karma, the heir of karma. I have karma as my origin, karma as my relative, karma as my resource. I will be the heir of whatever karma, good, bad, good or bad, that I do. So this is, I think sometimes you may remember these things in Pali verses. Kammassa komhi, kamma dayado, kamma yoni, kamma bandhu, kamma patisarana. Yang kammang karissami, kalyanang va papakang va, tassa dayado bhavissami. These things, I think you have heard these things, even in our Pirit Pota. If you read the Pirit Pota, this is the Abhinna Pachavekkana Sutta. So these verses are come in that sutta also. Jara dhammom hi jarang anatitoti. Vyadi dhammom hi vyading anatitoti. Marana dhammom hi maranang anatitoti. Sabbehi me piyehi manapehi nana bhavo vina bhavoti. Kammassa komhi kamma dayado. Kamma yoni kamma bandhu kamma patisarano. Yankammang karissami kalyanang va papakang va tassa dayado bhavisami. I read in the English version of this one earlier. So this is the verse you can see in the sutta, this Pirit Potha in our homes. So if you have any questions, you can ask. So then I can answer in the next 15 minutes. So if you have any questions, you can ask.
Any questions?
Swaminatha, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Swaminatha, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Swaminatha, you once said that if when you sort of cultivate goodness and even the dhyana states, that you may be born in a Brahma realm.
Yeah.
Where the suffering is very minimum.
Yeah.
But yes, our intention is to end the rebirth.
Yes.
How does that help you to end rebirth? Because okay, we might have less suffering, but still we will be in samsara and we can go around in samsara.
Yeah. This question people ask. So the difference is, you have to understand all other religions like Hinduism, Christianity, Islam, also the higher states of Islam, all these religions show this path to develop your mind beyond this five sense world. They in Hinduism they say you are united with Brahma. That means you practice metta, karuna, mudita, upekka, either one of these things, and develop your mind to the higher states, these jhana states, and go and reborn in this jhana realms. And they live many eons in those realms and come back to this five sense world. So Buddha tell these things in many places. They are not ends the samsaric suffering. But Lord Buddha inspire people to do these things with the right understanding, with the right view. When you have the right view, when you first practice the right view is the first factor of Noble Eightfold Path. So you get it from the people who practice the path to deeper stages. You get it from Aryas. Aryanandassavi, Sappurisanandassavi. Aryadammassa kovido, Aryadamme vinito. The people who practice this path to deeper stages and understand the truths within themselves, they will teach you what is this. Or when you read this Sutta Pitaka, Lord Buddha repeatedly say, understand this I, no strong body, mind, and sight, sound, smell, taste, touches, and thoughts are impermanent. When these things are impermanent, all our consciousnesses and the creation, the forms, feelings, perceptions, volitions, and consciousnesses are impermanent. If these are impermanent, definitely these things leads to suffering. Suffering is always associated with these things. So if these things are impermanent and suffering, can you take these things as I, me, myself? So Lord Buddha repeatedly asked these things from people. You can't take these things as I, me, myself. But this delusion associated with this consciousness, always take this I and Ostang body, mind as I, me, myself. All these feelings, perceptions, volitions, and consciousnesses arise within us. We take as I, me, myself. It is a part of the delusion. It is a part of all living beings. So that's why we have to correct these things by practicing mindfulness. So when we practice in this way, then when we develop our mind to the last factor of noble eight, this is the first factor of noble eightfold path. When we develop our mind to the last factor of noble eightfold path, that is the jhana level, then even this jhana level, people understand arose based on causes and conditions, not because I, me, myself. They are not attached to those states of mind. Even though they go and reborn those states, their vipassana arise naturally because they take those existences or those experiences arise based on causes and conditions. When the causes and conditions are changing, these state of experiences are changing. They know this one. Why? They practice right view from the beginning. So that's why they were not deluded, even though they go and reborn in those states. Lord Buddha clearly said, if a person who is a Arya Savaka, a person who student of this Buddha or Sangha, so they once they attain these jhanas and go and reborn these states, they never come back to this human realm, and they end their samsaric journey in that realm. Can you understand? That is the difference. Lord Buddha say in the same time, Lord Buddha in same sutta, Lord Buddha explained, but when the people who practice the metta karuna mudita upekka based on other views, these Brahma views, there is the eternal view. They think they go to the permanent existence. But Lord Buddha clearly said, after their lifespan end, they come back to the human realm, or they come back to the lower realms, and they might go up to the hell if they don't see something good. So that is not the end of samsara. Still they are attached to the existence. But when a person listen to Dhamma and come to the right view, they see this whatsoever existence will lead to suffering. So they are not intent to attach to the existence. They always find out how to go to the total extinguishment, because existence will lead to suffering. That understanding they have, because the way they see these experiences, they see these all our experiences as impermanent, not self, and always associated with suffering. It is a natural phenomena. Causes and conditions drive this our forms, feelings, perceptions, and volitions. It is the way how it works. So when people take in this way, they are not take things as permanent, I, me, myself. That is the root of vipassana. That is the way we see things correctly. Is that answer you can understand?
So,
Is it
Bhante,
correct?
what you are yes, so what we have to understand is, if you attain those states through practicing the eightfold path, you even if you are not you have not attained like Sotapanna, even in the Brahma realm, you continue to practice and continue to practice the noble eightfold path and end the suffering.
No. If you no, that is wrong.
No, if
When
you are
you
born
understand
in if
the
you
right
attain
view,
jhana
no,
states
no,
by
when you
following the
understand the
eightfold
right
path,
view and not self, when you understand the not self, you come to the path to Sotapanna. That is the most important thing people should understand. Lord Buddha say, if a person practice anicca dukkha anatta in this life, if they believe this is true, this is Dhamma, this is correct. If they believe and they practice in their day-to-day life and abandon all unskillful actions based on anicca dukkha anatta. Anatta means this body and mind is a natural phenomena. It is not I, me, myself. If a person practicing this way, Lord Buddha say clearly, they never die without attaining Sotapanna. Lord Buddha clearly say these things in sutras. If a person diligently practice, this body and mind is a natural phenomena. It is not I, me, myself. It always leads to suffering. The activities of this body and mind leads to suffering. So therefore, their mind tends to let go things and abandon the five sensible objects and stay with the stable objects. So it automatically arises within themselves. This path arises within themselves when they practice anicca dukkha. So that's what Lord Buddha say in large number of sutras. So that's why Lord Buddha say when a person practice these things, they never die without attaining the Sotapanna. They are in the Sotapatti Magga. So that's what Lord Buddha say. So these things
So
come
can I
in large number of suttas, not only one or two suttas. So that's why it is important because you hear Dhamma, mostly misinterpret Dhamma, wrong practices. So
so
that's why,
Bhante, then can I understand?
yeah. Ask.
Bhante, then can I, is it correct if I understand it in this way? So if you,
Yeah.
when you uh, practice the path, the Noble Eightfold Path and
Yeah.
attain dhyana state,
Yeah.
that means with you, even at that bed, you will attain Arya Magga, and
Yeah.
then you go to the Brahma realms, and then you end the samsara there.
Yes, definitely. Most important thing we have to understand, most of the time we listen to Dhamma, we talk about Noble Eightfold Path, but we don't have right proper understanding about right view. We are not much devoted to right view. People describe right view in wrong way. So that is the most dangerous thing. Because once we get the right view, we get the right motivation. So it is come behind the other one. So then you get the sense of urgency when you are practicing right view. You see, this body and mind is a natural phenomena. If you are not mindful, it will go in the drive. It automatically drives by the past karma. So then you develop the mindfulness and you abandon you abandon the greed, hatred, delusion quickly. So it naturally come to you. So that's why right view is the most important factor. So we have to understand. Lord Buddha say this right view you get by seeing the Aryanandasavi Sapurisanandasavi. Arya Dhammasa Kovido Arya Dhamme Vinito. When you see Arya Sapurisa, then you get it. Otherwise, you listen so many other things, you don't get it. That is the most important thing. Then you get the right motivation. Then you develop, you purify your verbal actions, bodily action. Automatically it happens because you get the right motivation. It comes from the right view. So right view, in some sutras, Lord Buddha say, to develop right view, you have to practice the right perceptions. When you practice the right perceptions, you get the right mind. That means Yoniso Manasikar, you get the Yoniso Manasikar. When you practice the Yoniso Manasikar, you get the right view. That is Sammaditthi. So these things come behind the other, one behind the other. So these things are
Thank you,
very clear
Bhante.
things.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions? No more questions, Bhante, for the time being.
Yeah. Okay. The most important thing we have to keep in mind is we understand things, but we don't take into our practice, day-to-day life practice. We don't take it take those things as serious things, because we don't see people practice the path. We don't see people stay on those mindsets. So that is the biggest problem with us. So when we associate with the good people or the people who practice the path with this right understanding, we get motivation to practice the right path. Otherwise, we go and ask some person, so they tell something else. Go to another person, they say something other thing. So then we are get upset. We are not focused to the right practice, because we don't see people practice the right thing. So that is the biggest problem in this world. People practice so many other things. They say they name as the same thing. Okay. So then now we can stop here, no? May I stop now? Okay.
Thank you, Bhante.
Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi Swakhato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namassami Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Sanghang Namam.